disaster. Stayed away from the holy mind. Pride. That's why I never thought it would matter. If I'm going back now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head over my back between the choice and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. In the heat from a hot California, I forgot how it looks like in rain. That's why I never thought it would matter. If I'm going back now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head over my back between the choice and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. All the memories just lingers on repeat like it is never gonna stop. I can't help myself from feeling all alone, but you got me good, but you got me good. On a run from my given disaster. Stayed away from the holy mind. Pride. That's why I never thought it would matter. If I'm going back now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head over my back between the choice and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. In the heat from a hot California, I forgot how it looks like in rain. That's why I never thought it would matter. If I'm going back now, all my weakness keep on
That was a horrible fade. What's up, guys? Shawn here. So we're live on the interwebs. And I just want to see how you guys are doing today. Oh, we've... already messing up, guys. But it's okay. That's the point of my channel, right, guys? You guys watch so you can see me mess up, so you won't mess up. So, camera's up there, but chances are I'm probably not going to look there because I want to pay attention to the chat. I don't have my wife with me today. She's at the lake with the kids, so I have all the internet. So hopefully we won't have any hiccups, guys. So first of all, can you hear me? Because sometimes that's an issue, but I can see the green light on my Scarlett. And I think my microphone's working, and I see my audio mix is bouncing around, so pretty sure we have some audio. Yeah, guys, Sunday afternoon. I feel horrible right now. So you might see me sweating a little bit. You might see me sniffling. But I have a sinus infection that has ruled my weekend, and I want it to go. I want to say peace out to my sinus infection. But yeah. So I want to switch over to see who's in the chat. Looks like we've got 2 people here. I feel like I'm one of them. So there's one other person here. So yeah, let's see who's in the chat, guys. As soon as somebody starts talking is when I start talking about something. So if you want to control my live feed, and if it's something I want to talk about, then that's what we'll talk about. So over the last week, I made 2 purchases that I think are awesome. And it's a whole new technology. It's a whole new codec. It's something that people have been using 360 video for a while. And that is VR180. But as far as the VR180 codec, that's just recently come out. And I think it's getting there, but I think there's still some bugs that need to be ironed out in the whole process. But I want to show you my new toy. And if you're coming back on the replay, welcome to Shawn Ide Studios, guys. Hope you like what I do. I hope you stick around. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about. What kind of videos you want to see on this channel. I basically like drones, and I like emerging technologies when it comes to cameras. Okay? I mean, I'm a nerd, so, well, I'm not a nerd, I'm a geek. But I like just about the same thing that all other geeks like. I like smartphones, I like smartwatches, I like new technology. You know, when I've played video games my whole life, so VR video games is kind of something I'm into right now. I don't have the hardware to really get into it correctly, but as far as mobile VR, I do that, and sometimes I do that on my lunch break in my car, and it's kind of weird. I've gotten into 3D printing recently, and yeah, guys, I like new technologies, and I'm a creator. I'm a designer and a creator at the core. So when it comes to new technologies, I want to know about it, and I want to know how to do it before everybody else does, so I can wow people. I want people to look at my art and say, how did he do that? And I feel like I've kind of pulled back the curtain since I started my YouTube channel, because I learn in front of you guys now. So it's not something where I spend an evening just learning a new technology and then I put it up on Flickr. You guys remember Flickr? Yeah, that's what I used to do, and now I like to do it with you guys, and I actually learn a lot faster when you guys comment. You know, you guys raise questions that I don't think about, and so I think it's pretty cool when you guys have an idea and want me to test out. So the emerging technology is VR180. Now there's been a lot of sites that use 360 cameras or wide-angle lens cameras to record one side, and that's 180 degrees. And then they've been putting it into like a 360 codec and then just blacking out one side and putting their logo on it and calling it VR180. But what I want to talk about is the codec that Google's coming out with called VR180 and what it's about. So VR180 is... Well, first let's talk about 180 degree video. 180 degree video is half of a hemisphere. Wait, no. It's a hemisphere. It's half a sphere, which is what hemisphere means. And basically what it is, you know, I've been a 360 shooter for a while. For years. I've been a 360 photographer for about 15 years. And then I've been getting into video in the last maybe 3 years. Because there hasn't really been an easy way to do it. But now there is. Like 3 years ago, my friend Trooper had a GoPro rig with 6 GoPros on it. And he would put them in, you know, put them in a circle and record video, and then it'd take him hours to process using auto pano, or it was color. Wait, no. Yeah, it was same thing, color auto pano, and it would just take him hours to process. And now, with the with cameras that have recently come out, I think the first camera that I really remember doing it with was my Ricoh Theta. And I didn't even get the original Ricoh Theta. I got the Ricoh Theta S. And then I've upgraded to the Ricoh Theta V since then. But, you know, 1080 video was the thing then. And everybody was like, oh, well, this camera does 1080 video in 360. But nobody really thought about the fact that you're only looking at an eighth of it. So when you look at an eighth of 1080, it looks like poop. So, next, you know, the first, 360 4K camera came out. And the first one of those that I really had was a Samsung Gear. There were others out at the time. And I got the Mi Sphere, but I don't think the Mi Sphere was exactly 4K. But, you know, the technology has just boomed in 360. And I've, you know, recently got the last 360 camera that I got was this guy. This is my GoPro Fusion. And if Daniela shows up on my live stream, she hates this guy. But I think it's great. But for regular consumers, I think it's going to be something that people abandon pretty quickly, just because it's really complicated to get the GoPro Fusion to work. I mean, it has an app that's pretty simple, but when you realize the hardware that you need to get, the memory cards that you need to get, I think consumers starting off would be better off with like a Gear 360 where you push the button and then it syncs to your phone and then you're ready with it. Or your Insta360 is pretty straightforward. The Rilo 360 is ridiculously easy to use. But there's varying resolutions, and they handle white balance different. And, you know, I think if you sat back and got your camera and you played with it and you showed people what you did with it, I don't think anybody would care whether the resolution was, you know, a bit off or if the color was a bit off. Because 5 years, you know, several years ago when I was showing people what I did, they were just amazed. And I think unless, you know, I think being a 360 shooter, like, you become kind of a snob. Like, you know, you get, as a YouTube creator, I've gotten into this rut where no matter what I buy, something better is going to come out next month. So you get to the point where you don't even want to spend money. You don't even want to buy the latest, because the latest is going to be not the latest in a week. Like when the GoPro Karma came out, and then the DJI Mavic Pro came out like a day later. Like they just had that ready, waiting to destroy GoPro. And they did. You know, everybody that pre-ordered the Karma just canceled their orders and pre-ordered the Mavic. I mean, I'm going to spend $1,000. Might as well spend it on something cool. So there's that. Let me get some water. I'm feeling a little bit parched. I need to figure out how to get these live streams going. I think Sunday afternoon is convenient for me, but it's not that convenient for other people, I guess. I don't do a good job of promoting my live streams, so I should probably start doing that. But once they get going, they're a lot of fun. So what time is it? So we've been in about 15 minutes. We've had 2 people in here and nobody has said anything. They've just been kind of looking at me. So there's 2 people watching now. It says I got a comment at 401. Oh, I think that was me. So there's 2 people watching now. And I really wish you guys would start talking to me. So what do you guys want to talk about? I'm going to give this live stream about 10 more minutes. And if nobody chats with me, I'm going to go rest because I have a sinus infection. But I'm sacrificing my afternoon for you guys. So let's talk. Let's talk about VR180 stuff. I've started a group on Facebook about this guy. This is the Lenovo Mirage camera. And as you can see, like that's my hand. I can cover the entire thing with my hand. So that should let you, and I don't have big hands, guys. So that should let you guys know how big this camera is. It's got 2 lenses. One for the left eye and one for the right. Okay, so that should give you an indication as to what it does. It records in 3D, and it also records in 180 degree VR. So what VR180 does is it basically lets you see what's in front of you. And if you think about like what you're looking at, like if you're looking forward, your peripheral vision is like, my peripheral vision is about here. So that's probably maybe 120 degrees. Okay. And then there's 180 that's out here, straight line. Okay. And then it's up and down. So when you're looking, your peripheral vision is completely covered. And I'm talking about using a VR headset. So it will work in something cheap like this. So this is my viewfinder, which I think I got for $10 on clearance one time. But basically what you do is you take a cell phone and you put it in here, and it's got these 2 lenses. Okay? And then you close it up. And there's a little stylus in there, and you push this little button down, and it pushes the button on the screen. So you can use stuff like Google Cardboard or the native software that it comes with. Comes with the camera and stuff like that. And then I want to show you what else I got. This is something I'm going to be reviewing this week. This is the Oculus Go. okay? And I'm not going to put it over my head because it's going to mess up my hair. But you hold it like this, and you have a little controller. And what's cool about this is with the Oculus Go, you can on a Mac it's a little tricky because you have to get like the Android file transfer program. But I've had that on my machine for years. Because the Oculus Go is essentially an Android phone, and it works almost exactly like my Gear VR, which uses a Samsung Gear phone. But everything's built in now, so I can just put it on and go. Like, it's awesome. It's totally awesome. And I would suggest if any of you have $200, go grab one. And I've kind of been reintroduced into a lot of the photos and the videos that I've taken. And I'm starting to realize what I've done wrong in the past when it came to 360 video. And one of the things I think I did wrong was, when you're making a little planet video, it's really cool to put it on a selfie stick and to move around with it. But if you're doing anything for VR, you don't want the camera to move. And I'll tell you why. My wife has issues with motion sickness. So, and the only thing that makes her motion sick is when we have somebody, but he's confused. What's up, Ulysses? What's up? Why are you confused, buddy? And the reason people get sick is because the reason my wife gets sick is she usually gets sick in the car when I'm driving. And the reason she gets sick when she's driving is she's moving forward, or no, she moves somewhere she doesn't know she's going to. So if I turn left, but she thinks we're going right, all of a sudden she's sick. And that's the same concept with VR. When you move your camera and the person that's watching that video didn't expect you to move, then they get a little nauseous. Or like a roller coaster, whenever you're going up and then all of a sudden you go down, and your body, you don't really know when you're going to go down and when you're going to go over that hump. Your stomach gets kind of queasy. So with VR, for the last year, I've been putting 360 cameras on my drone, and, the 360 camera has been moving around in the air. And I watched one of those videos yesterday, and I made myself sick because I put my GoPro Fusion up on my Unique Typhoon H and put it up in the air, and then I wanted to enjoy flying through the air. And I did the flying. I kind of know I've seen the video several times, and I know what the video does. But as I'm moving through the air, I'm getting kind of nauseous. But there's another scene where I basically just fly the drone straight up in the air, and then I just let it hover for 5 minutes. And that video is very enjoyable. That video, I can look around, I can watch the train go by, I can see birds flying and in like a, beautiful formation, little stuff like that. That's pretty awesome. So, I've decided to get away from putting 360 cameras, and even this, I think I still will put this VR180 camera, this one. I think I still will put it on a gimbal, but that's just so it stays level. But I'm not going to do any crazy, weird movements with it. So, Ulysses, what do you want to talk about? I see that you're confused. I put out a Hootsuite, and I think the Hootsuite grabbed my description from a couple weeks ago, which was, let's talk about action cameras and drones or something like that. And this week I put on there that I'm talking VR180. But since you're the only person chatting with me, you can choose whatever we talk about. And if you guys are, let's see what Ulysses got going on. Zero subscribers. You want some subscribers? We can subscribe, buddy. Oh, now we got 2 people watching. So I think Ulysses went away, but he might not have. So my thought with VR360 or VR180 is, you know, I've tested this camera. I've tested this camera in several different places. I did it in my car, and some of the stabilization was weird. You know, it has that same Garmin Verb 360 stabilization where you can lock the compass and it'll hold its direction. So, but the problem was I had it in my car, and I'm driving around with it, and when I turned the corner, the whole video moved over there, and it started heading that direction, and then it moved over here, and I don't think VR180, you should ever lock the compass, because if you turn the camera, then you have to expect your audience to turn their head to match it. So I turn the corner, and all of a sudden I have to look this way in order to continue just to watch the video that's only on one half of the screen. So I learned that this week, and I think motion in general is a bad idea. Now, where this camera shines, it's actually amazing. Let's see if I can get it up. So did I just change over to live? I did, didn't I? Okay, we should be good. All right. So I don't know how to use OBS yet, but what we're going to do is I'm going to open up I'm going to open up a video real quick. No, I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing. But an example of how I think this camera would work great is, so I've got kids. I've got 2 kids, and you know, several times a year we go to award ceremonies or recitals or, you know, little things like that. And so right after I got this camera, the day after I got this camera, we had my son's award ceremony, and I put it up on my YouTube channel. You're welcome to look at it if you want to. But my wife wasn't able to go because she just recently changed jobs, and she didn't have any vacation days or anything like that. So what we did was I recorded it in VR180, and then I was able to download the file from the camera and upload it to my VR headset, my Oculus Go that I just showed you guys. This guy. And she was able to look around, and it was like she was sitting next to me watching our son graduate. And I was even able to So I was on the third row, and there was this woman that stood up right in front of us. And she stood up for like 5 minutes. Like, I thought she was standing up to take a picture and then she was going to sit down. But no, she was like, she stood up. And she was like, I'm just going to stand in front of everybody until my son's class is done. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't want to be rude on here. But um but thank goodness I took my light stand. My light stand, when I set it up, I set it up so it was higher than everybody else. So even if somebody stood up, they wouldn't be impeding my view. So I got the entire thing. I didn't have to worry about anybody standing up. I was able to enjoy I was able to enjoy the award ceremony without having to, like, as the videographer in the family, I'm always behind the lens. And I never get to enjoy the day because I'm always videoing it. So it was a really neat thing to do. But we're not getting any engagement today, so I'm gonna sign off and get some rest because I really need it. But for those of you that did show up, I appreciate it. And yeah, if you're watching this after the fact, I talk about some pretty good stuff in here. So I would love for you guys to join on Sunday afternoons. And I've got to figure out how to promote this so people actually show up, because a lot of people don't show up. But I get a lot of comments and a lot of views after the fact. So anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace, blessings, love, joy. It's all good stuff. I'll make you happy. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. And yeah, catch you on the next video, guys. Peace out. All right, guys, so we're back. So I don't know if my chat is lagging, but Ulysses wanted me to start talking again. So we're going to talk about the Breeze, the unique Breeze 4K. I had the Breeze for a little while. I thought it was a really good camera, or I thought it was a really good drone to start out on. But I feel like a lot of corners were cut in order to make it a cheap drone. And I think too many corners were cut. Does it fly well? Yes. Is it responsive? It was okay for me. It was more responsive when I got the controller to work. But when I couldn't get the controller to work, or the controller died, like it didn't die, but it would lose connection, then it was not fun at all. I had one experience where I was maybe 150 feet up in the air, and I was pushing down on the controller to land it, and all of a sudden the controller lost connection, and it wouldn't stop coming down. Like, it was coming down really fast. And I caught I was able to get connection right at the last minute. But so if you fly it far away, it has a return to home function. So once the connection is lost, it will stop and hover where it's at, and then turn around and come back to the home spot. And what mine would do is it would hover maybe about 3 feet off of the ground. But I mean, that drone came out at $500, and now it's like $100, $150 at Walmart. So if you're looking, if you have $150, grab you one of those and don't worry about crashing your expensive drone. Learn how to fly on the unique Breeze 4K, because for $150, it's an amazing drone. For $150, it's an amazing drone. For $500 when it came out, it was a piece of crap. And I'm being very honest about that. And the reason I say that is I feel like it was a motherboard with some props on it, and then they put a cheap plastic shell around it. And like the inside wasn't even really connected to the outside, at least the one that I had. So when you would go to plug it in, you'd push the plug into the drone, like you could feel the entire internals of the drone moving around. Little stuff like that is bad production, guys. Now my Unique Typhoon H is a piece of machinery. It is put together well and is very, very solid manufacturing, very solid, beautiful LED lights and all that stuff. The Breeze, I think, was their way of getting into the selfie drone market, and I don't think the Breeze did that very well. Just like what I said earlier about the Karma, how the Karma looked like it was going to be awesome, and then the DJI Mavic Pro came out and nobody even cared about the Karma anymore. I feel like that's what the Spark did to the Breeze 4K, because the Breeze 4K is not a 4K drone. It shoots 4K video, but it is useless 4K video. Okay? The usable footage from the Breeze 4K is 1080 footage. And that's exactly what the DJI Spark does. And the DJI Spark is a solid drone that will fly for a long time. I feel like the Breeze, you could hit a branch and destroy that thing. It's a very cheaply manufactured drone. And the controller that came with it is an Android iOS gaming controller that was fixed to make this work. You know what I mean? Like it was... I don't think that was good planning. Like when I reviewed the Tello, Tello's a great drone, but don't fly it outside. I see people trying to fly it. I see people flying it outside with success, but when I flew my Tello outside, it was not a good situation. And I don't really want a drone that I can fly inside. I want a drone that I can, fly above the city and take pictures and stuff. But the Breeze 4K basically does the same thing that my Parrot did. And I feel like my Parrot Bebop 2 was a better drone than the Unique Breeze 4K. And the Parrot Bebop 2 came out several years ago. And, for $150 you can get that drone right now. Would I get a Phantom 4 Pro? I have a Phantom 4. Well, I don't have the Phantom 4 Pro. I just have the Phantom 4. Would I get the Phantom 4 Pro? I think I would have gotten the Phantom 4 Pro if I didn't have any other drones. But I feel like my Unique Typhoon H does a better job than the Phantom 4 Pro would do. I don't have any issues with object avoidance. I don't need object avoidance because I'm not stupid enough to fly my drone around objects. The camera is just as good. It doesn't have the 1-inch sensor, but the camera that's coming out this spring is better than the camera that's on the Phantoms. So I can keep my current drone and just upgrade to that camera, and it'll work just fine. What I love about my Unique Typhoon H is that I can take the camera off and I can put other things on it without adding weight to the drone. So the drone flies just this, the drone flies just as well as it did with the other camera on it. On my other drones, whenever I put a 360 camera on it, I'm actually adding weight to the drone. But Ulysses, what do you have? What kind of drone do you have? Or are you asking questions to see whether you're asking advice on buying your first drone? What's your story? And where are you from, by the way? I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Ulysses, I don't want you to you're in South Carolina. Cool. I don't want you to be disappointed in my advice on the Unique Breeze. With any purchase you make, you should own your purchase. And if you enjoy, if this is your first drone, then by all means, he's laughing and crying at the same time. Is this your first drone, Ulysses? Because I don't want to turn you off or offend you. I tell you what, Unique Breeze 4K is way better than the first drone I ever had. First drone I ever had was a Parrot AR drone 2.0. And that thing was made out of styrofoam. It was awesome because it would do whatever my iPad did, but it was still kind of difficult to fly. Ulysses, I have a couple videos about the Unique Breeze 4K, and I was able to get some pretty good footage out of it. So, the Unique Breeze is a good drone. You had a DV686 piece of... Oh, all right, no cussing. It flew away the day it came in. That sucks. I don't mean to laugh, but I've had some crazy... ever since I... with that said, when you get your Unique Breeze 4K, just make sure it has... I mean, this is the same for every drone, but you want to make sure that it has enough satellites to know where it's at, and you want to make sure that it knows where you are. So all drones have, all the good GPS drones, which the Unique Breeze has a GPS in it, has a home point. And before you start flying off, make sure it knows where the home point is, because that's the only way you're going to keep your drone. What a lot of people forget to do is they forget to calibrate their compass on their drone, and then they fail to see how many satellites they have. Yes, I think you should calibrate every time you use it. And this is why I say that. When you put... Now, the Breeze comes in a box so that it's... Like when you put it in its little clamshell box, it will kind of always stay horizontal. But if you put it sideways and put it in your bag, and then you walk around, or, you put it in your car and you take it to work... like me, I fly on my lunch break, so my drone is going from home all the way out to work and then back home, and then yeah, it's true. If it'll be about a 5-minute flight. You can, I mean, a 5-minute flight's a pretty good flight. My biggest drone will only fly 20 minutes. But the Unique Breeze, I would always calibrate my drones no matter where I was, because you never know if you're around, you know, metal or power lines or anything that can affect the compass. You want to make sure that your drone, you know, whenever you're probably just a hobbyist, but whenever you get certified, you know, the FAA, you know, you always want to check your engine. You always want to check, like when you start your car goes through all these checks to make sure that, you know, checks your tire pressure, it checks your the temperature of your engine, it checks your oil, and if there's anything, it checks your lights. If there's anything wrong with your vehicle, then you get a warning that pops up on your dashboard and says, hey, you need to check your tire pressure, or time to go get your oil changed, stuff like that. Same thing with a drone, especially the fact that you don't have complete control over over it. You know, if you're driving an RC car on the ground, then, you know, chances are it's not ever going to hit anybody. But if you're flying 100 feet up in the air, and if you're going, you know, in a direction and then all of a sudden it loses power, it might drop, but it might drop, you know, at an angle, and you don't know where it's going to hit. You know, so that's why all the rules are there, not to fly over people and not to fly over moving cars and all that kind of stuff, because you could really hurt somebody if you run into someone. So calibrating is very important, that because it's part of the, you know, the checking of your drone, making sure that all the blades are on tight, making sure that like I watch a lot of people are flying the DJI Mavic Airs, and I have a DJI Mavic Air as well, and they put the antennas in the feet. Well, the feet are folded up just like the Breeze, and you have to fold them out for the antennas to point down towards the ground. Because if they're like this, then they're pointing this way. Actually, they're like crossing. But, and this guy was like, this drone is a piece of crap because it only goes, you know, I can only get about 50 meters away and then it loses connection. Well, yeah, dummy. The antennas aren't even pointing there towards the ground. And then they won't put their antennas out and all that kind of stuff. So, in order to keep your drone from flying away, Ulysses, I would make sure that it's calibrated, and then just read through the instructions. I know I kind of joke about unboxing and throwing away the instructions, but it's very important. Right. Yeah, so let's talk about drone crashes. I'll talk about my mishaps with my drones. One with my DJI Spark, when they updated the firmware, the same day that they released the sphere mode. So if you go back and watch my sphere mode video, I might have cut a lot of it out, but in that same video, I would fly it up, and then I would let go of the controller, and it would just keep going. And so then I'd switch it over to sport mode, switch it back, and just make sure I got the connection back. And then I finally got it into a spot, and then I took my sphere mode and made my YouTube video. So there's that. The very first kind of real drone that I had was a DJI Phantom 3. And I didn't really know about battery life back then, and you know, you think you have plenty of battery to make it back down, but I was running out of battery, and it started coming down right on top of a tree. it was one of those things where I lost connection, or no, the battery was close to dead, and so it automatically went into return to home mode. But for some reason, the home mode was a little off, which I think I didn't calibrate it correctly, and so my drone started coming straight down um, into a tree, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to react quickly with my drone. So I panicked and I flew the drone right into the tree and it fell down. And another time, the other time that I wrecked was my DJI Phantom or my DJI Mavic Pro. It was Thanksgiving and I was showing my dad how this thing could just follow you. It could track you. So all of my flying was perfect. I didn't hit anything. I was careful. I stayed away from us and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, "Hey, Dad, check this out. You can track me wherever I walk." I put it into tracking mode, and all of a sudden, it just banked hard right into my dad's roof. And it was so new that I couldn't get replacement blades for a month. And then it was winter, and I couldn't fly it. So I didn't really get to fly my drone until spring again. So that was frustrating. I should do RC unboxing, like a Traxxas. My nephew has a Traxxas, and that thing is ridiculous. That thing is so fast. It was so fun to drive. But it was one of those things where we drove it so fast, we broke it. Like, we were driving, so we kept driving back and forth and, like, peeling out, like, spinning out at the end and jumping ramps and stuff. And then it just stopped moving, and part of the drive shaft broke off. One of the little gears on the drive shaft broke off. And so then we spent a half hour looking for the drive shaft on the pavement because it was the same color as the blacktop. So South Carolina, huh? Are you on the ocean side of Carolina, South Carolina, or are you inland, Ulysses? I don't know if I've been to South Carolina or not. I've been to Raleigh, North Carolina. But, yeah. Oh, and speaking of your DV, I had another drone. I don't remember what it was. This was when I was in my Uber stage where I was, I got fired from a job and then I was in between and couldn't get another job. So I sold all my good drones, and then I wanted to still fly my drone. So I met this guy off Craigslist, and I don't even remember what kind of drone he sold me. It was like a Phantom, like the Phantom shape, but it was not a Phantom. Lake Murray, huh? Yeah, I'm still scared to fly over water. um, I like to fly over. Oh, the sunset. So wait, doesn't the sunset in the west? I don't know. That's cool. Yeah, um yeah, I'm scared to fly over water. I'm even scared sometimes when I fly it. Like 400 feet up in the air is about as high as you can go. But then you can fly it away from you and still remain 400 feet in the air. Um, so yeah, that makes me a little nervous too. Um, but so what was I saying? Oh, so I bought this drone from this guy off Craigslist, and he flew it for me like we met somewhere next to a field, and he flew it and showed me that it flew pretty well, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Then I go to, and it was one of those that had a little mount for a GoPro. So I put my GoPro session on it and flew it up, and I was flying it pretty well, but it didn't have GPS in it. It was like ADI mode the entire time. So I don't know how to fly those drones, to be honest. I don't know how to fly a drone where you have to keep it in the air all the time and you have to hold your hand on the stick. The drones that I'm good at flying are the ones that, and I've been teaching my son how to fly, and I tell him to just kind of let go of the sticks. If you get into danger, if something is about to happen, or you get too close to something, you don't know how to get out of it, just let go of the sticks and then hand me the controller. And what the drone will do is the drone will just stop and it'll just stay in its spot. And then I always turn the drone towards me till I see me in the camera, and then I push straight forward so that it comes towards me. I put the drone in a position that I know where it's at. And I like to fly next to landmarks. So most of my videos on YouTube are at the ballpark. And the ballpark is about a mile from my work. And it's a great place to fly because nobody's ever there. It's one of those ballparks that everybody goes to softball games and baseball games in the evenings. But during lunchtime, there's just, some picnic tables that I can do my YouTube videos at. But what I love about it is it has the place that I lift off from is kind of the snack bar area. There's like this gazebo in the middle, and it has this bright red tin roof. And so I fly from that, and then no matter where I am, because I get turned around when I'm looking at the screen, because you have to do line of sight. So I look to see where the drone is, and then I look down at the screen, and then I'll look back up. And sometimes, when you're next to something, it's pretty easy to see it again. Like if it's next to a tree, all I have to do is find the big tree, and then it's right next to it. But when it's up in the sky, even if you like you look down and you look right back up at the exact same angle, it's still really hard to see your drone. And that's kind of why I like the bigger drones, because I can see them better. But when I'm up in the sky and I lose kind of my bearing, my unique Typhoon H has an arrow pointing at me at all times. So I know what direction to point the drone in to get it back to me. Okay? That's what's awesome. That's what I love about that drone. And I love the fact that it has a dedicated Android tablet that comes with it. That's pretty awesome too. But when it turns around, I can see in the screen where that red roof is, and I'll just fly towards that red roof. And so all right, Ulysses, thank you for joining the chat. Everybody subscribe to his channel. Go check his stuff out. Ulysses, I'm going to subscribe to you, and I want to see videos from your Breeze up on your channel. Good luck on your purchase, man. And I hope I didn't discourage you at all. Breeze is a fun little drone, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Peace out, man. So, all right. We are going to go this time. Peace out, guys. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy life. Blessings.